Well, okay. Very simple. Today I'm going to have two topics, which were derived from the news. Right? Now the news actually talk about there are two important news lately. One, all price increase one. One is a HDB. It was reported in August there are 54 HDB flats sold above $1 million. Wow. Okay. Wow. The second news came about was COE earlier. This news was earlier, right after Taman got elected as the president. Right, shot up to the record of 137,000 for the open category. Right, these are the two very important news which I think will affect almost everyone. You may think that I don't buy car. How can it affect you, right? It can affect me. I'll explain how it will affect you, right? Some people said, I don't buy HDB. How it will affect me? It will affect you if you stay in a HDB flat, right? Let me explain. Let's talk about HDB first. My pet topic. No, um, the HDB problems is a very complex problem, because it involves CPF, basically retirement financing, and it involves land ownership. It involves lease decay, and it involves the quality of the HDB that was built in the early days. It's a whole very complex issue, right? 一言难尽. It cannot be um, really dissected, completed, explained to you in 1 2 hours. Is I think you will form a whole module. I'm going to be a lecturer teaching about economics of HDB. Right? It will become a whole module because the issue is very complex. But let's talk about very simple terms, the optics. When people to read, come to realize that, wow, resale market of the HDB went through the roof, $1 million. Different people will have different responses, right? Those who own HDB flats will say, wow, my HDB assets went up again, very happy. I say, wait a minute, why are you happy? Are you going to cash out from that? Can you cash out from that or not? Do you have any means of immediate benefits from this increase in prices? Maybe it makes you happy to know that, oh, my HDB flats increase. But really, your HDB flats increase in prices? No, not really. Why? Because it depends on the age of the HDB. If it's more than 30, 40 years or coming to 50 years, due to the lease decay, your flat prices will actually go down. Right? It will come to the top and goes down. Very simple. Why? The amount of money the potential buyer can take a loan from the banks or the HDB will actually decrease when it cross the 40 years. Even after 30s, I think in some instances it will reduce the amount of money that you can loan. Cross 50 years is even worse. When it comes to 30 years, well, I do not know whether you can get any loans, and it depends on your age, right? So it doesn't mean that you will benefit automatically. But before you can even benefit by selling off, for example, right, you have to pay higher property tax. Why? Because due to this increasing in prices, property valuation depends on the resale market value, right? Yes, correct. Property, correct. Yeah, right. You get what I know I'm going to say, the property tax, right? Mr. Yo, right? So before you can benefit, you actually gonna tax already, tax higher. You're going to pay higher property tax. And I've already said this, you don't really own the land where your HDB flat sits on. You don't believe me, you can go and check. Right? You don't really own the land, right? But you pay property tax. So who benefits? Of course, the government benefits with higher property tax revenue. But who will be the one who suffer? Of course, the property owners, which is the HDB owners like you and me, right? That is a fact, right? So you have to get the perspective correct, right? So not everyone will benefit. I would say most people will not benefit because most people cannot upgrade to private property, so to say. Even when they so-called upgrade, they will you sell $1 million. Now the private property at least 1.5 million. You have to take another loan to buy a new property, private property. You buy HDB property, you sell high, you also buy high. So so what's the point? Will you really benefit? You will only benefit if you are very high income owners. Or you are very rich, you can sell off $1 million, pocket the difference, right? While you have already a second property, the private property, all paid for. And then you can benefit. But how many of these 54% who sell their HDB at above 1 million will be able to do that? I doubt so. Right? Maybe there are one or two, but not all. Right? Most of them, I believe, are those who want to retire and they sell off and they bunk in, so-called, live with their children, maybe. But their children have to pay high property prices also, right? And now they become a non-property owner from having a property without having their own roof with their own privacy. Now they have to bunk in with their children, married couples, right? So these are the facts. Don't be so happy too early. But who, beside the property owners who suffered higher property tax, who else suffer? Your children, my grandson, right? My future generation, your future generation. Why? Property prices once push up, it's very difficult to come down unless there's a big crash. But even after a big crash, it goes up very fast. We have experienced that, right? So, what's the point? And if the property prices keep going up, definitely the normal people, working class, even your middle class, you consider yourself middle class, you need two income earners to pay off your debts, maybe 20 years, 30 years, 25 years. And using your CPF money, remember, most people use their CPF money. And they have this false sense of affordability. And when they come to the retirement age, they suddenly find that, my CPF not enough money to retire. Or they cannot enjoy the same level of living standard as a middle class. And they will be stuck. That will be the future of your children, your grandchildren, future generation. I do not need to actually experience it, but I can actually have this prediction already. There's no second way. I've talked about Mr. Tan Kilin saying that the wife can be a homemaker while he works. All right. But look at this way. Last time, one income earner can buy a property, a HDB. But now, even with two income earner, you need to pay longer loans with your CPF, compromise your retirement financing, and at the same time, worse, the new BTO are actually smaller in sizes. We are all actually become a suckers. Well, this is a very old story, Andrew. It's correct. You are right. But I have to repeat again and again because Singaporeans have short memories. They do not really understand the mechanics. They do not really understand the wholesome concept of it. And the problems is so serious. But people still buy the story from PAP, say, oh, we can afford, right? We can afford. It's not right. In actual fact, from a financial planning perspective, you actually cannot afford it, right? Or you're overspending, overinvestment, so to speak. You only have the feel good feeling right now, but later on you're going to suffer. Not only you'll suffer, but you're actually making your future generations suffer even more, right? So this is one part of it. So who are the ones who will benefit? Definitely the PAP government. Not only from higher property tax they collect, they can sell the BTO flats even higher prices because all BTO prices are hedged or have the indicators derived, the price indicator derived from the open market, right? That is very important. So if you have $1 million, more and more $1 million HDB flats, then PAP will say, oh, we actually price our BTO according to the market price, so-called. And part of the problem of high resale prices is actually PAP itself. Why? Because you're not building enough BTO flats. There's a mismatch of a demand and supply. Why? Because PAP keep having new citizens. You know, every year we have new citizens, 20,000, more than 20,000 new citizens. And these people are eligible to buy HDB properties, BTOs. Of course, they can buy from resale market also. 20,000. Our capacity, the building capacity for HDB, right, is about 20,000 flats. 20,000 at most. Actually, I was told it's 18,000 by people who are in the construction, right? But we have our own indigenous citizens who are born here, right? Come to a marriage and want to buy properties. You add on these people, which is I say selling more than 20,000 every year, right? Plus those new citizens. Definitely, there's not enough BTO to go around. If there's not enough BTO to go around, they go and buy resale market. That's how the resale market will gonna push up. There's no second way about it. So it's an incoherent policy by the HDB. They want to increase the citizenship, giving out more and more citizenships. And they're not building enough HDB flats to accommodate these people because they have the right to buy properties HDB now. It is a vicious cycle. And the worst thing to come is this. I can tell you because I have touched on this issue before. Right from the beginning of this year, I think last year, right? Somewhere middle of last year to now, there are so many grade A construction main contractors who are specialized in building HDB flats went bust. What does that mean? It means that the building capacity of Singapore on HDB flats actually went down. And you can expect for the promise that that's Desmond Lee and the PAP government promised, wow, we want to boost up our capacity, building capacity for BTO, blah blah blah, no, to 34,000, 35,000. I asked a very simple question: who built? Your main con are all going bust. Right? Your building capacity, are you sure you can keep up a promise of 24,000 to 35,000? My friends in the construction sector tell me it is not going to happen. And what it means is if the construction capacity is dampened while PAP keep giving out new citizenship, which give the rights to more people to buy HDB flats, whether it's BTO or resale, these prices of HDB will continue to go up. And who suffer? Your children, your grandchildren, and everyone will suffer because we are going to pay higher property tax. Very simple. It's a no-brainer, so to speak. It's a no-brainer problems, right? Okay. This is only part of the problem, you know. It's only a part of the problem. There are deeper problems coming in, but I don't want to frighten everyone, right? I can foresee a lot of problems coming in the next 10, 20 years, right? And this problem, you ask me how I will go to solve it. I tell you, property industry, or rather HDB housing industry, is not a sector that you can mess it up and expect people to have a quick fix. Right? The solution is going to be very painful to everyone. So you better make sure that the current government, the PAP government, do not screw it up for all of us. If it does, then good luck to all of us. Right? There's no quick fix. It's going to be very painful. Right? If you want me to give you the solution, vote me into parliament. Then I will give my solution and debate in parliament. I'll tell them what they went wrong and what are the problems that I can see from the horizon. They're coming right towards us, which they're not planned at all. They have no vision of what is coming in. Right? Okay, COE. Tonight is going to be a very fast one. Right? COE went up to 130,000, 137,000 for open category. What went wrong? My goodness. Most people say, I don't drive, so it doesn't affect us. Right? Right? Most people have this attitude. But I can tell you, you will be affected. Why? These COE things does not only affect car owners. Right? It affects the Grab drivers because the taxi drivers and the Grab companies, as well as businesses, which needs a vehicle to work from. Although I do not own a goods vehicle, but I need a car to run my business. Right? I explained before, last time, I met an old gentleman. He was in the Garanguni sector, right? Garanguni, lah. So he said he's unable to renew his COE because it's too high. So he was forced out of business. Because Garanguni, you don't have a lorry, you cannot do business at all. People who do sales without a lorry, without a car, cannot do business at all. People who do supply chain, right, cannot deliver their goods, they cannot do business at all. Is that just that simple? What it would mean is, if the supplier, the supply chain still can supply things, right, the price will go up because the vehicle cost will go up, transportation, delivery cost will go up. And of course, the petrol price will also go up, right? Cost of business will go up. And through the natural selection process, those who have to renew their vehicles, right, or buy new cars, whether it's lorry, vans, or otherwise, will find that they cannot afford and they will be pushed out of the industry. So your supply will actually shrink. When the supply shrink, basic economics, price went up. And who suffer? of course, a consumer like you and me, right? Very simple. It's a very straightforward question. So the rich will always get richer. Those big suppliers with a lot of money, they can buy car, vehicles and all that, while the smaller players will actually die off, and they will gain monopoly power in the market sooner or later by the natural selection process due to the COE, cost of doing business. Small competitors will be washed off. And when they gain that power, they will definitely increase prices. That's the nature of business. Optimizing profits. Right? So this is a fact that we cannot ignore. And why did the COE prices went up so garang? Why every wave will go up one? No. LTA kept the number of vehicles, the number of COEs, or the population of vehicles fixed for many months already. Right? But at the same time, they keep increasing the population of Singapore. Look at this way. Worse, they increase those what people who are very wealthy can buy 3, 4 cars at one time. Those who come to Singapore to set up their so-called the family office, right? Of course, they will push up the COE prices. Demand, increase in demand. So when the population increase, the demand of private transport will also increase. That's number one. But you keep your supply of your COE fixed or the total population of a car fixed. Obviously, simple economics, the COE price will shut up to the rooftop. Very simple economics. Right? Econs 101, supply and demand. And this is not all. Because LTA did not restrict or did not come up with a category for hired purchase or rather the car rental market. Right? That means the Grab, the car rental, which rent out the cars to Grab drivers and all that. So what happened? This is a vicious cycle. When the COE went up, people cannot afford the COE to buy a car. They rent a car, or they become Grab drivers, part-time Grab drivers, and all that. Right? In order to have a car to drive, right? Increased demand on car rental market or the Grab. So these companies with a lot of money will actually go in and bid for more COE, and he actually raise the COE prices even more. It's the same. The rich will become richer. It's a vicious cycle. Right? That is a vicious cycle. And you will come to a point that most of Singaporeans cannot own car. And you have to rent car at higher and higher prices. My dear Singaporeans, is this a situation you want Singapore to be in? When the rental companies capture the majority of the car COE market, what will happen? You will have the monopolistic power in determining the rental of a car. Not ownership, only rental, because you will no longer be able to own a car. You can only rent from them. Right? And you will be subjected to their mercy for your private transport needs. Not that car ownership in Singapore, some are really for luxurious enjoyment. The rich will have that. One rich family can have so many cars. I haven't seen one One family have 10 cars parking outside every night, right? The good class bungalow. Sub story. But for a small middle class middle class family, I don't think I can afford another car, if my car COE expired in a few years' time. And my business have to close shop because I will no longer be able to deliver, right? My goods, my key to my customer, right? That is the fact of life, right? People keep asking me what's the solution. Hey, you pay the minister $1 million of salary per year to come back and ask me for solution. Are you sure or not? You pay millions to them to screw it up for you, and you expect me to give you the solution? To have the solution for this issue will also be very painful, right? Will be very painful. There are a few options. There will be a few options, but some people will be very angry or really how how should I say, not happy with my solutions. But it is about a fair reallocation of scarce resources. Fair, right? Fair allocation based by needs, not want. That's number one. And to reduce monopolistic manner or business optics operations so that people can enjoy a fair accessibility to such resources. Using the market principle of market pricing is not always right, okay? People will say a free market is always right. Free market is not. In certain aspect, if you look at it from a different perspective, free market may not always be right. When you become an ultra capitalist, you always push every problems, everything to free market principles. That's wrong. That's wrong. If you follow the free market principles to the max by the dot, you know what will happen? You cause a squeeze on the middle class, and that is what we are experiencing right now. The middle class will be squeezed, pumped down, and the social divide will increase, and instability will set in. Right? Do you want that for Singapore? By the way, such theory is a very old theory. Right? Karl Marx in his work called capitalism, right, have already explained it in a very technical way. I also sometimes cannot understand what he's trying to say because the way he writes is very technical, right? But in the short forms, he says that if a free market principles is allowed to go on without regulation, without modification, right, without control, ultra capitalism comes in, it will result in class struggle. The middle class will actually be squeezed and disappear, right? Because resources is always scarce, and the rich will always get richer because of their influence, their monopolistic uh, power, manipulations, right? We have a good system of HDB actually because of a social contract that we have, but it was PAP who get greedy. They actually screw it up because initially in 1966, PAP government came out with the Land Acquisition Act to say that, okay, it empower the government to acquire a lot of land from the landlord, right? 80% of land belongs to the government right now. But in return, the social contract is the government will take care of the people to redistribute the land by means of housing, HDB, at cheap prices. You get the land cheap, you give it to the society to redistribute at a cheap price. That actually works for us in the 70s up to the 80s until some buggers come with a bright idea that, oh, we must optimize the value lah, no, or else we'll rate the reserve lah. What nonsense, right? And start the so-called the HDB asset enhancement scheme, which push up the prices all over the place, and we can never turn back, because we cannot crash the market suddenly, else a lot of people will suffer negative assets. That's why I say property prices, property market is not something that you can play around with. If you screw it up, it will be very painful if you want to solve the problem. But PAP have done it again. The BTO system should be scrapped. Why? I have explained before. BTO system is based on the concept of on-time delivery or on-time, on-demand delivery. But to build a flat, you will need years, 3 years to 4 years in Singapore. So there's always a gap. And when there's the gap set in, you will have market fluctuation and market imbalances. The supply and demand will not match. And what makes it worse is PAP increase the citizenship, the new citizens giving out from 15,000 up to 20,000, 25,000 right now, 24,000 I think, 24,000 or 23,000 every year. You increase, and by doing so, you increase the demand of the HDB. But you did not take that into account because our building capacity did not increase. And the BTOs is fixed. And it actually becomes a vicious cycle. And that is why we are ending right now with a very difficult situation. Don't say that opposition did not do anything. I have warned about this in 2011. The $1 million HDB flat is coming to fruition. Because I already know the system that PAP have put installed is not sustainable. You only push the country to a crash. Ultimately, the end of the tunnel is a crash. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to be a crash. Right? And it is going to be very painful to a lot of people, especially those who pay $1 million for a HDB resale flat. Right? So it's something for everyone to think about. Don't sleep on it. It's not something easy for you to ignore. Don't ever think that it got nothing to do with me. It got everything to do with you. These two issues is everything to do with you. Right? Because it's your future and my future involved. Although I'm old, I still got children, right? I still got a daughter, right? You may not have a children, maybe. But yet you will be affected as the times comes by. I can tell you, HDB or anyone in power will have no choice but to do en bloc to a lot of flats because most of the flats cannot last more than 75 years. And by then, your flat's worth very little money, even if there's a millions of dollars resale market. partly due to the lease that you have by then. But if you want to buy a new flat for HDB, the HDB flat is pegged to the resale market. Then how are you going to afford? You'll be screwed. So don't take this lightly. An action plan have to be installed. We have to work to regulate, to slow down the process or even stop the process by not crashing it. Or else you die, I die, everyone die. Okay? That's all for tonight. Thank you for watching. If you like my little show down here, live chat, please share. It's an important message that need to be shared to as many Singaporeans as possible. Right? And please follow my channel. More to come. Thank you so much. Good night.